Ellie Ventura is the Resource Recovery Manager at WorldCentric. Please welcome Ellie.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for digesting with me. I'll try to keep you entertained as we go through here. We're really excited to be here today. This is the bullet point list that I would like to cover. Hopefully we can get through all this and then maybe leave with something we can apply when we go back to our real lives or learning something new. That's my only goal for our time together this afternoon. A little bit about me. So I am the Resource Recovery Manager for the East for WorldCentric. I have 37 states who I'm responsible for, and that bullet list shows what I do with all of them. I have everything east of the Rockies from Canada to the Caribbean, and I support 10 regional sales managers. And then I have e-commerce and a retail line that I also help with. And every day is different. Every day is different. And I just want to share with you a quick path of how I got here that makes the changing days really interesting and keeps me coming back. So my degrees are in athletic training and psychology. And then I got my master's degree in exercise science at Central. So then I spent some time as a certified athletic trainer in higher ed, found my way into student life, dabbled a little bit, as we affectionately called it, the Dean of Arts and Trash, which is then where I made my foray into sustainability and helped to do a greenhouse gas assessment, the first time on that campus. So really just kind of self-taught my way into the sustainability industry. And I think that's kind of typical, right? Because here in sustainability, we don't do a lot of linear things, right? We follow a lot of winding paths and really like circles. So that is a little bit of my story about how I got here. A little bit about WorldCentric. We have been manufacturing certified compostable food serviceware for 21 years. One of the unique things about us in this industry is that we only manufacture compostables. We don't do any other plastic, petroleum plastic things. And one thing that makes us really excited about working at WorldCentric, and I have my colleague Jerry in the back being my personal photographer as well. He's the sales manager for this region. One of the things that we both really get goosebumps about working here is the fact that we continue to donate 25% of our profits every year to nonprofit organizations around the world. And we look for grassroots, locally led projects that are focused on environmental injustices and alleviating extreme poverty. So it's not like what we do, it's the why that makes us coming back every day. It's pretty cool. Where are my certification people? Jake and Navia did a fantastic workshop on certifications, and I was telling somebody earlier that WorldCentric collects certifications like trophies. We love them, and we do that. We invest in them to show that we substantiate the claims that we make. So we have certifications in our business and sustainability practices. We have certifications in our product and for our products. And then we also are active in investing in industry trade membership organizations to help advance the composting industry and advocate for legislation that is favorable to sustainable initiatives. It's another thing I do, so that's why the days are always different, always different. So now with that set up, I want to get right to confusing you. You ready? Okay, so which of these is compostable? You can deliberate. Just think right or left. And while you're deliberating, I'm going to keep talking. Isn't that nice of me? So 85% of the contamination that comes into commercial composting facilities is conventional plastic, fossil fuel-based plastic, petroleum-based plastic. We know that because the Compost Consortium, which is a subset of the Closed Loop Partners, they released a study 2 weeks ago that quantified contamination at composting facilities. Have you made up your mind? How many of you were confident about your answer? Not right or wrong, just confident that you had it right. Oh, you're not confidently showing me your confidence out there. It's hard, right? It is really hard to do it in a two-dimensional setting, but I think we would agree that it's not really that much easier in a four-dimensional setting either, right? Unless you think about this all the time, are paid to care, or really are always thinking sustainably, this is really difficult. And it is, oh, my new slide didn't get put in, that's my fault, because which speaker doesn't do everything until right up to the second you present, right? So LinkedIn has some really great conversations, and a lot of the topics and the circles that I run in come back to certifications, values, and what that connection is, that confusion, and the connection to greenwashing. So I had a really great image of a plate that someone just posted that's wrapped in plastic, and it's a set of 10 plates, and it's Walgreens home brand, and there were labels all over it. It said compostable in about 19 different places. It had all sorts of stuff on it. And the poster circled all of the things and said, do we have a concern about greenwashing here? And that's really kind of the crux of legislation, of labeling, certifications. Those third-party verifications really help to try to address and prevent greenwashing. But we have a lot of work to do. So level setting and use of terms and understanding definitions contributes to that confusion and to that greenwashing. So whenever I have the opportunity to be in front of an audience, I really like to start here. Talking about really splitting the hairs between biodegradable and certified compostable. Those two terms are used interchangeably all the time, but they're about as similar as the University of Michigan and Michigan State University. Similar, but not at all, right? Kind of. So these terms are defined by laboratory tests. There are 3 specific criteria that they use. And as you can tell by these interlocking circles, you can be compostable. Nope, I always do this backwards. You can be biodegradable without being compostable, but you can't be compostable without being biodegradable, okay? The 3 factors of that are time, ecotoxicity, and what's the other one? What's the other one? We'll get there. I'll remember. So biodegradation has to happen in 180 days. And biodegradation is the microbial breakdown of a material. So we really can't see it. It's got to be tested in a lab. Disintegration is the physical falling apart of something, right? Like you leave a car sit in the field and it's going to rust apart. That's disintegrating. Biodegradation also, and disintegration, also have to leave behind nothing that's harmful to the environment or to humans. So those are the 3 boxes that have to be checked for it to be compostable. I like to use the example of a log cabin. That's going to biodegrade, hopefully not quickly, but that will biodegrade. We don't know how long that's going to take, and we don't know what it's going to leave behind after it biodegrades. Therefore, it's not going to be compostable, okay? I'm guessing there's probably going to be some ecotoxicity triggers that are left by our biodegraded log cabin. So what this leaves us with is a collection of certifications. Are any of these familiar to you? The 8 of them on the right are all indicators of compostability. The 4 on the left have been focus grouped to be interpreted as also meaning compostability. So the realities are that there are a lot of players in this space, and it gets a little confusing, and it devalues the trust of that certification. In the composting industry, it's a really high priority to try to sort this out. Composters feel like addressing this is going to be the best way to reduce the chance of contamination entering into their facilities. So there's a sense of urgency to get this figured out. What we could consider, and there is action, there are working groups throughout the entire compostable supply chain, from resin makers to compost producers, trying to work on this, to actively think about a universal definition for compostable, unified standards, and then in a utopian perfect world, having one symbol that would represent compostability. Can you think of an example of something that we sort now that has one symbol that has a pretty understood meaning? Yeah, the recycling triangle. Yeah. So back to those standards. This really cramped slide is just showing you the ASTM standards that all of our compostability certifiers use as a baseline. They're pretty similar, right? The biodegradation timeframe, the degradation timeframe, the ecotoxicity, all of them require that. And here's all the science-y rationale behind what those standards are like. This next eye chart is taking those standards and showing the requirements for application within each of these certifiers. So we have BPI, which is a Biodegradable Products Institute. They're kind of the gold standard in the compostability world. A lot of composters rely on that, recognize them. They require their product or their mark to be posted on product right now. That was a new move for them in 2020. And TÜV Austria OK Compost, they're the most recognized for home certification right now. They also require their logo to be on product or packaging. The other outlier here is the Compost Manufacturing Alliance in the second column. They require all of the lab testing, and then they go one step further and they do field testing on those products to identify or to prove out, is what they say, that the lab testing is doing what it says it's doing. And then the other kind of unique carve out for BPI, CMA, and NSF now, which is a new player, well, a returning player to the compostability space, they also offer a searchable database. So if you have a product in your hand, you can type in the product code in those 3 websites, and it'll bring up that specific item and show you if it has been certified by them. So NSF, DIN CertCo is in Europe, and they also certify to home compostability. And DIN CertCo is actually the technical reviewer for BPI right now too. NSF was the original technical reviewer for BPI when they first started in the early 2000s, and then they got out of the space for a while, and now we're happy to have them back in. Crystal clear, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Makes perfect sense. So the takeaway here is that we have a set of standards established by ASTM International. These certifying agencies apply those standards just differently enough to issue their own mark when they deem your product certified compostable. There's a cost to all of these. There's an investment. There was a question in the certification workshop right before lunch about what is the cost of that? What's the cost differential? We pay $10,000 just to be in BPI, and then we pay an annual licensing fee each year on those items. CMA charges us $8,000. Basically, they charge us $1,000 a product code to pay for that. And then the others, it's all pay to play for those as well. But we roll that cost in to our overall product cost. How do we apply this now that we're all experts in Certification 101 and compostability? What does that mean at a food procurement conference? Well, and how do we apply this to a sustainability program? Coming from the solid waste world, my lens for walking through this is going to be waste diversion, waste program related, but I think you can apply this in a lot of different program concepts. And I also want to just give flowers to M Dining and the University of Michigan. If you have a program, a sustainability program back in your real life, don't feel like you're not living up by comparing yourself here, because they do a really, really great job. But all of this works together, right? Identify what you're doing, why you're doing it, measure it, because we can't change what we don't measure. So a quick little waste audit, remember I'm from solid waste, quick little waste audit is going to give you really valuable data to come back to and review in the rest of your programming. Enroll stakeholders. Sustainability is a team sport. We need each other, and you need to make sure that you're getting buy-in from everybody who's involved in your facility, from facilities to service providers. And service providers are often brought in last. And we need them earlier in the planning process because they're determining what they're going to manage for you and then what's recyclable or compostable for your service providers. You know, if your composter will only take a certain compostability certification, you need to work with your buyers to make sure you're bringing in compliant products for them. If black plastic is not going to be recycled by your service provider, maybe you need to not bring in black plastic if you're really looking for those waste reduction and sustainability goals. When you have a program, shout about it. People need to know why you're doing it, how to participate in it, and they want to know your progress. So let them know your wins. Evaluation is a constant part throughout the entire system. It's not just as easy as setting up a 3-bin system and saying, hey, we have a waste diversion program. Yay! No, it's a great place to start evaluation. I had to look in the compost tote before I came up here today just to see how we were doing. Not too bad. But there's always progress to evaluate. And it all goes together. So we not only pay for those certifications at World Centric, we also do our own testing, and we have composter relationships that help prove out that our stuff works in a variety of compost technologies. We get our hands in there and we get dirty, and we appreciate conversations and feedback from composters that we can then take to our product development team, and we can work on meeting the needs of them. We have a product called ZeroWare that is made from TPLA we've designed it to be used multiple times, and it works in a composting facility. We've been there and we've seen it. I don't know if this is going to play for you, but this is biodegradation and disintegration in action. But you know what? We're not going to watch the action. It falls apart into tiny pieces. The worms show up 8 weeks later. You can't see it. Totally passes the disintegration test. We'll share it later. Yeah. So if you are fortunate enough to be able to divert your food waste and compostables to composting, 1 ton of food that is diverted from a landfill into a composting facility reduces 2/3 of a carbon metric ton of CO2 from being released. That's equivalent to driving about 1,500 miles in a car, which is from here to Key Largo. So you snowbirds know what that's about, right? So that's a pretty big deal, and that doesn't even include the benefits of compost application. So Jerry and I got to visit Spurt Industries' new location up in Rochester Hills on Monday, and they reminded me that 1 cubic yard of compost sequesters 100 gallons of water, and it brings all those other amazing benefits with it. We aren't naive enough to think that every fork and cup we sell makes it into a compost pile, so we have a sustainability manager on site who does our LCAs, and what we've done here is we've just done a comparison of manufacturing 1 pound of each of these different product substrates. And these graphs are showing the same thing. The bubbles and the bars are showing the same information. Just pick your visual pleasure there and pick which one. The bigger the circle, the more the emissions. This is showing greenhouse gas emissions. Again, we're only manufacturing 1 pound of each of these, and you can see that bamboo and bagasse fiber barely register. It's not because she didn't calculate it, it's because they hold more carbon than they release when they're harvested, so they barely register. Okay, you can see our conventional plastics are the biggest emitters in greenhouse gas. This one is showing energy use, energy input for manufacturing that 1 pound. Again, similar look. Our renewables, our TPLA, our fiber, our bamboo paper, those are all very low. The bigger emitters are our conventional products there. And then fresh water use is becoming a pretty scarce resource, and we would like to be transparent about that because we make our materials from plants. Plants need water to grow, so the manufacturing process is water heavy compared to some of the other conventional materials. If we take this and apply it to 10 million forks, which is not an unreasonable order for some of our bigger accounts, you can see if we switched polystyrene forks to TPLA forks, we would have the opportunity to reduce emissions by 56,000 metric tons of CO2. So it's more than a fork. It goes a lot further than that. So hopefully you have learned something. Start small, aim big, get a win, shout about it, grow from there. Work backwards, get your service providers involved if you're looking at a waste reduction program. Continually evaluate, shout about what you're doing, and ask questions. And there's a lot of available resources out there that we can leave with you. And Dining has them, they're everywhere. We're a sustainability community, so talk to each other and leverage what already exists. And with that, thanks for your time and attention. Reach out if you have any other itches to scratch or conversation you want to continue. And I look forward to learning more the rest of the afternoon. Thanks, everybody.